in, it needs to be a panelist, and the meeting is ready to begin, Madam President.
All right, I am going to call this meeting to order. And we'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor, please lead us.
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Gibbs, do you have your disclaimer?
Yes, good evening, everyone. This is a caucus meeting of the Yeadon Borough Council. The meeting is being recorded. This meeting is being held via Zoom pursuant to the Governor's emergency declaration. Your participation and attendance in the meeting is your consent to be recorded, and there's no expectation of privacy in anything you say in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please proceed with roll call, beginning with our esteemed mayor.
Mayor Hepkins.
Present.
President Monroe is present. Vice President
Present. So President Francis, Vice President Francis contacted me. I'm not sure, did he make it to the call?
It does not look like that's his number.
Okay, so he had a family emergency that would preclude him from attending this meeting. He called this afternoon. He wasn't sure if he would be able to attend.
Councilor Johnson.
Present.
Councilor Cave.
Hi, everybody. I'm here.
Councilor McCabe.
Here.
Councilor Jones-Waters.
Present.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
Here.
Solicitor Gibbs. Is Mr. Nichols.
Present.
Mrs. Mulvana. I see her. She's here. She's trying to get the vault. There you go. And then I just received a text message from Miss James that she cannot get on. We'll try to help her in the back, on the back end, and see if we can get her in. And that concludes roll call.
Thank you so much. We will proceed with our citizens forum. Are there any citizens wishing to speak? If so, please raise your hand and the solicitor will acknowledge you.
Mr. Guerrero would like to speak, ma'am.
Ms. Guerrero?
Ms. Guerrero, you have to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to know, hi, everybody, Happy New Year. I just wanted to know if there's anything going on with the property next to me at 508, and do I need to get permission to be on it, like to garden on it or anything like that?
Mr. Nichols? Ms. Guerrero, so the borough can't give you permission to be on the property necessarily. I don't think anyone's going to mess with you, but we can't give you permission to do anything.
Okay.
We'd have to give you, we actually can't do that.
Okay. Do you know if it's up for sale?
We wouldn't know that information. We wouldn't know that information if there's not a sign or anything.
Okay, thank you.
But I have not seen it show up at all.
Hey,
Mr. Nichols, am I correct with that?
Yes, Mr. Gibbs, you're correct.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens wishing to speak, Mr. Gibbs?
Council President, no one else has raised their hand.
All right, thank you. We will move on to our mayor's report.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President. I have a couple of things to report. The my report does stand as written, but I'll highlight a couple of things. The schedule for the mayor's forums for this year, as well as the public safety, is listed in my report. The mayor's forums are 4 for the year, and they occur on the first Thursday of each quarter. And that will be listed, I'll post it on the website. Public safety will be the last Saturday of each month. The only exception is December. The last Saturday of December happens to be December 25th, Christmas, so we'll move that up to the previous Saturday, but it will be posted. Health center that's coming into the McDade Mall is on track. I believe it's another month or two before it's completed, I'm told, but they're making progress. I do have a report on the insurrection security alert. The FBI today sent out an alert. They're very, very concerned. They're seeing a lot of chatter around the country that there's some groups that seem to be hell-bent on some kind of violence. So we have to be concerned about that, although we don't expect anything in Delaware County or Yeadon, we don't know. So we have to be very, very careful and not to be alarmist, but we're really living, we saw last week, in unprecedented times, and countries divided, and we don't know what some of these insurrectionists are planning. So we have to be alert and pray. On Monday coming is Martin Luther King Day. The library is planning a special event, MLK virtual program. All are invited, but I see Clay Payne, the library director, on the line. I'll have him speak more about that. And then finally, it's my distinct pleasure to announce, I believe all the councilors got the email that the Niles Swim Club is being recognized as a historical marker in the state of Pennsylvania. So it's going to be honored as one of the Pennsylvania's historical site, which is quite a milestone. And there's going to be a ceremony on Saturday, May 22nd at the Nile from 10 a.m. to, it's tentatively scheduled from 10 a.m. to noon. So that'll be posted as on the website as well. So there ends my report, Madam President.
Thank you so much. That was a huge undertaking for the Historical Commission and for the Nile Swim Club themselves. I'm glad that they finally were able to receive their historic marker. And I look forward to attending with you.
Madam
This
President,
is Dolores. This is Dolores McCabe. I have a question. Mayor,
Sure.
you said the health center would be open for a couple of months. Now, on the news, they announced that we would get our vaccine from the health center. Is there somewhere that we get our vaccine in the meantime?
So, Dr. McCabe, I was actually going to add for the mayor. We had I serve on another board, the Delaware County Black Caucus, and the county came to us over the past weekend and had a presentation, and they actually said within a couple of weeks, and conservatively a month. So hopefully they would be able to. Hopefully it's not going to be multiple months, but they said that they are nearing completion, and they're going to keep us apprised of the date that they're coming up. Waiting on some additional furnishings before they can open. So
when they open, will the vaccines be started immediately, or will there be a delay in the vaccines?
So the vaccines will be distributed to physicians as well. It's not solely going to be through that health center. That will be one of the locations. So I would say to check with your physician And if you are within
I
one of
have
the,
checked with my physician,
Mhm.
and I'm not getting very far. And I checked also with CVS, and they haven't been able to do anything yet.
Mhm. So I guess, if we get any more information, we'll make sure to make it publicly known as well. But for now, that we have a few weeks out is what the information that I was presented on January 6th. They said it was a few weeks out and they would send out more information. They were waiting for some additional furnishings, and they would be sending out information about hiring
Well,
for additional
I
positions.
think somebody at the borough should work on this, like call media or do something to let some of us know who have other problems, and of course have some years on some of you, um, that we should be able to find out and get this vaccine, because we're older and we have more challenges, more health challenges.
Mhm. So as far as I know, they're still on phase 1A. And phase 1A was healthcare workers and long-term care facility.
But
And
they
then they'll,
announced on television that people over 65 were going to be able to start getting the vaccine, but they didn't say where.
so we're moving to 1B next week. So more information should be available once we actually move into that phase.
Okay.
All right. But we'll make sure as soon as we get any information, we'll make sure to um, to disseminate it to you and the general public.
Madam
You.
President, I have a question about the Nile.
So, Councilor
Does that
Case.
new designation impact their property tax status?
No.
There you are. The solicitor said no.
Thank you.
All right.
I have
Thank
a
you.
question about the health center as well.
Councilor Roadcloud.
So with respect to the health center, there are so many questions that must be asked. And to me, it was seeing like someone from the county, who's running this health center initiative would come down to Yeadon and speak to the people of Yeadon about, what the health center is what services it's going to have, how does the health center affect Yeadon financially, hiring, contracts, so forth and so on. Now, I did hear that someone came to an organization that that Councilor Monroe serves on, but no one came to Yeadon to speak to the people of Yeadon, and it's going to be in our backyard. So there are a few questions that I personally have, and I'm sure others have, but more importantly, my question is simply, how does this affect us financially, having a health center right in our backyard with respect to public safety, with respect to code? Why can't someone come down and speak to us?
So that was something that we did ask of county council as well. And they said closer to an opening, they would schedule a time to invite the community over, but they want to do that for Yeadon at the actual health center. So they want to finish the construction. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, management team or solicitor, I don't see this having any other financial impact, any different financial impact than any other business opening up in our borough would have. Is there something that I'm leaving out?
I'll let Nafisa talk about finances. I know that we don't have the authority to regulate a county agency as a borough. And one of the things that I have some experience, and the chief can correct me if I'm wrong, if we ran into a situation where the chief was overwhelmed, the county does have their own park police service that we could use that could be responsible for that area. Am I right about that?
That is correct. But the information I have is that there's not going to be any kind of like public safety issues that I'm worried about. They've repaved the lot and everything else. It should work just like a normal clinic will. Obviously, it may be overwhelmed when they start giving out the vaccines, but again, there'll be an orderly way for us to handle that. I'm not worried about that at all, safety-wise.
Councilor Road, I've dealt with the county through other representations and having to use county police and county park police. So that way our Yeadon police, let's say we did get overrun with vaccinations, our borough police wouldn't be responsible. It would be the county police, and they have authority in Yeadon also.
Okay.
Mr. Nichols, do you foresee any financial impacts that this would have different from any other business opening up in the borough?
No, they're renting space from someone who's paying taxes. So the tax money that we get from the landlord, of course, that's that doesn't change.
And the landlord does not sought any type of tax abatement or tax forgiveness for this.
So what about the health inspections for the facility itself?
The county would issue their own permits themselves.
No, there's still some permits that they will have to get from the borough, yes. That's one-time revenue.
Permit, right?
Whatever our ordinances say that we can do annually, of course, they'll pay the annual fee for that as well.
No, I mean the actual health assessments, their yearly assessments when people have the code department, the health inspector have to go in and inspect the facility.
I don't think we have the authority to inspect a county health facility. So the state allows the counties to exist. The county allows for us to exist. We can't cite the county. So if the county, which they're in the process of doing, creates a board of health, that board of health would have jurisdiction in the entire county, and we don't have super jurisdiction over them.
Okay.
All right. So I'll
basically
keep
they're their own entity, and we basically don't have anything to do with it at all. But if we see a problem, we can certainly report it and hope that it's rectified.
Yes, ma'am. But we can't. There's some question of whether or not we can cite the county, and I don't think the borough has the authority. My opinion as of right now is we don't have the authority to do such. Just as if we don't have this authority to cite the post office, because it's the instrumentality of the federal government.
Okay, nice to know.
All right. So we'll make sure to keep everyone abreast of the invitation that the county extends to the Yeadon and the surrounding community that will be served by this health center. So in my report, I have that the borough received 4 awards from the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs for the 7,501 plus population category for the following. We won first place recognition for the newsletter in the PSAB 2020 Borough News Municipal Newsletter Contest. Second place recognition for the website in the PSAB Borough News Municipal Website Contest. Under the PSAB 2020 Borough News Municipal Special Recognition category, the borough received second place for the borough calendar. And fourth, we are the 2020 honoree for the social media contest. And saving the best for last, Counselor Jones Waters received a certificate of achievement from PSAB. So we want to congratulate everyone on the hard work that it took for us to be recognized over all of the boroughs that are in the state, and keep up the good work. There ends my report, and we'll move on to the manager's report.
Good evening. The items handled have, since the last meeting, have been that the 904 performance recycling grant application was submitted. The borough calendars have been mailed. If you know of anyone who hasn't received it or you haven't received it, please let us know, because we're working on that, trying to figure out what issues there are at the post office with the bulk mail. Same with the newsletters. Those should be delivered shortly. So let us know if you don't receive one of those. Please continue to check the borough resources for updates on testing sites and other information. Management's recommendation for the vacant code officer position will be on the next week's agenda for council's consideration. Management is also seeking to fill other vacancies and holding interviews at this in the weeks to come. The newsletter submissions for the spring edition are due by January 22nd, and that concludes the manager's report.
All right. Thank you.
Madam President,
Ma'am?
I have not received the calendar. Dolores McCabe.
Yes, we are keeping track of those areas that have not received the calendar. We know
Yeah,
you're,
she just
I'm sorry.
said for us to tell her whether we got it or not. So that's
Yes, I was going to tell you, you're not the only one on Allen Drive who let us know that they hadn't received it in that area.
I'm on
So,
Norma. I'm on Norma Drive.
okay. So we are keeping track. So we have Norma and Allen then, and then in that vicinity over there. So we they are being delivered with the Every Household Direct. Is that correct?
It's EDDM. It's the bulk mailing through that. Yes.
Okay. So we are at the mercy of the post office to be able to get those delivered. I have been checking in with residents who are in various parts of town, and it seems like they just haven't made it over to that area yet. So we're keeping an eye on that, and the same thing for the newsletter.
And Madam President, Vice President Francis texted me that he is now on the call.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
All right, Councilor Francis.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can hear.
All right. Sorry, I had an emergency.
Thank you. We will move on to our solicitor's report.
Good evening, everyone, and happy New Year. I'm in the process of processing a slew of tax assessment appeals. The most notable one thus far is Parkview Court. They have, and they believe their assessments off by over $500,000, so it's something we're paying a lot of attention to. With the new reassessments, it's not surprising, but we are protecting the borough's resources and making sure that people pay their fair share of taxes. Working in conjunction with the school district solicitor is something we do every year. We have again filed another appeal related to the Archdiocese cemetery. So there will be 2 cemetery appeals pending at the same time because we don't want to lose our place in line with the courts. Other than that, we worked on some hiring issues, and we have some legal issues that I'll discuss in executive session at an appropriate time with council. With that, I have nothing else to report at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs.
Councilor Johnson has a question for Mr. Gibbs.
Councilor Johnson, yes, I forgot. We also had a shade tree conversation this week. And Councilor Johnson, what's your question? I think I have an answer for you before you ask it, but I'm going to let you ask it.
Well, I wanted to know when were you going to get back with me to let me know your findings and from the documents that I actually sent over to you.
I got the documents. So Councilor Johnson sent over some documents related to a shade tree ordinance, and there's something that happened in 80-something, something that happened in 98, and we've done some shade tree work. What I did, Councilor Johnson, is I reached out to the Delaware County Law Library to get a copy to go back as far as they can for all of our shade tree ordinances, and I requested the numbers that we had in that letter. So every time I do an ordinance, I send it out to the library, and they're a central repository. I should have it back within 10 days, and then we can figure out what exactly is the status of the law. Frankly, looking at what Councilor Johnson sent, I don't know where we stand shade tree ordinance wise.
All righty. So you're saying to me that we'll speak again possibly sometime late February. Am I correct?
No, ma'am. We'll speak sometime late next week.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
And I'll keep you up to date on where they are with their research. But if you go to the media courthouse on the 3rd floor, there's a law library. They have all our ordinance books there, and they have everything that every solicitor has ever sent in. It's required by law that I send them a copy of our ordinances whenever we pass something and whenever we advertise something. I don't know
exactly. And saying that, even hypothetically, what I sent you is maybe is not there. It is something that we need to look at and address, or either talk about at a later date.
So the question ultimately for me is whether or not Yeadon Borough has a shade tree commission or not. And the last ordinance I have says that the council has elected not to have a shade tree ordinance. However, we did not. However, the documents you gave me indicate the council elected to have a shade tree ordinance, a shade tree commission in 1998. And that changes. Yes, no, in 98 they elected to have a shade tree commission. 2008 they didn't discuss shade tree commission at all. So I don't know whether there's a commission that we're supposed to have or not at this time.
Okay, we'll talk in 2 weeks, next week, once you find out what is
and I'm
protocol.
actually in meeting on Monday, so if they don't have anything, I'll go sit up there and bother them.
All righty, sounds like a plan to me. Thank you.
Any other questions for me?
Yes, I have a question with respect to the shade tree, since you brought it up. Is Yeadon, didn't Yeadon impose a surcharge that was being paid every year from the residents with a shade tree to be deposited into a shade tree account?
That's what the ordinance says, yes.
Right, that is what the ordinance say, but have we been doing it?
Mr. Nichols?
So we had this conversation about a year ago, if not a little longer, and we started since my firm has been there, putting the money into a separate account effective last year. So, so since January 1 since the tax bills went out last year, February 1 actually, we have been putting the dollars in a separate account, yes.
Okay.
It's I believe it's $5 off of the trash bill that goes into the shade tree fund.
Yeah, $5 from the refuge fund that goes into the shade tree fund.
Yeah.
Okay.
So prior to, just to confirm, prior to that, the money had not been collected, right?
Correct. There was
had not
no
been
documents.
separated.
It hadn't been separated. Correct.
Right.
All right.
Okay, so my second question would be with respect to the shade tree. Because so many of the shade trees are defective and causing hazardous conditions, are we replacing those trees, especially since we're supposed to be a tree-lined community?
Answer to that question is yes.
Can I interject for one moment, please? Mr. Wilkerson has actually, and Councilor Roadcloud, if you'd like, I'd actually send that over to you as well. He has actually put together, and I would prefer him to explain, and we were going to send it out to all of the councilors after, we kind of like get this other thing together. But he has put a list together of the number of shade trees that's here in Yeadon, the ones that is actually damaged and needs to be removed, the ones that's in pretty good health payment-wise, and that kind of a thing. So if you would like, I would actually send that over to you, and perhaps that might answer some of the questions.
No, my question was just simply whether or not the shade trees that we're removing, are we replacing them?
That is one of the things that will be addressed on.
Yeah. So the team is in the process of putting together a comprehensive report. about the shade tree and the state of the
Yes.
shade trees and
Mhm.
what will be done with the shade trees. At the moment, they are just stuck at whether the commission exists. So
Yes.
once they're able to move past that, they'll have additional information that will address those questions.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, then this is my last question. With respect, so I'm assuming then there's no additional work being done with respect to the hazardous conditions of the sidewalks that have been damaged as a result of the shade tree?
So that
Well,
will be
to
addressed
my
in the report as well.
Is everything on hold right now?
For a week, ma'am, if that.
I'm sorry?
It would be for a week. We need to figure out what the status of the law is before we do anything.
No, I'm just asking what's being done right now. So I didn't know work stopped. I didn't know that.
As a
because
solicitor,
of COVID, there was nothing that actually, there was a lot of companies that wasn't working. So most of the things stopped because of COVID. There is a list that's derived already for this year, but because we're working on the legality of shade tree, right now, what can I say about 3 months of shade tree is on a standstill. We got to get the legality of what Mr. Gibbs is working on.
that's correct. So for the next, I've asked the code department and also Mr. Wilkerson in Public Works to give us a week or two so we can figure out what the law is so we're operating appropriately.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Nichols, or Mr. Gibbs, did the tax collector have a chance to connect?
Yes, I'm on.
Oh, thank you, Ms. James. Welcome. We are on to your report now.
All right. Good evening and Happy New Year.
Good
We
evening.
began the year
Thank you.
2020 with 3,669 residents holding tax bills. To date, 91.6% have paid, thus leaving a total of 308 residents unpaid, which is like 8.4% only that is due. I think we've done very well. The monthly figures for December are as follows. Real estate, $77,336.29. Under sewer, it's $42,418.14. For trash, we've collected $23,970. Total in this account for the month of December was $143,724.43. $143,724.43. And this concludes the tax collector's report for the month of December.
Quick question for clarity, if I might, Madam President.
Thank
Go ahead.
you, Councilor Cave.
Madam Tax Collector, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for that. You said 2020, so was that a recap from last year, or are you talking about this year?
I'm talking about, what do you mean this year? We're closing out 2020. This is 2021.
Okay. Gotcha. So that was a 2020 recap that you gave with the 91% collection rate?
That's correct.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. There ends your report.
There ends my report.
Thank you so much. Eileen, engineer's report.
Good evening. The first thing that I wanted to bring up was that we did ask for authorization to do a sewer lateral dig as an emergency this weekend on Church Lane at 545. They have had a backup for 2 weeks. They have a residential rental unit, and they had to relocate that family because of this backup. So Garjour is scheduled to do this work on Saturday. We have requests for quotes out to 3 contractors for the elevator service maintenance agreement. So they're expected in on January 19th at 9:30, and then we'll have something for you for your Thursday night meeting. The contractor who gave us a proposal for the front walkway lights and building light at the front entrance. We had asked them to give us a photo of the proposed bollard so that you could look at that. And unfortunately, the contractor has contracted the COVID virus and is ill and is not working. So we did not get a photo of the bollards for you. We'll see if we can have that for next week, but we will be asking you to authorize the approval. If you don't like the bollard lights, I'm sure there's certain ones that you could choose a different light that should be in the same price range. We did meet with the Mike Constantino from Lynn Architects to review the proposed door opening and the roof replacement where the HVAC units are. So they're proceeding with the architectural drawings. Their roofer has not been available to meet with them. So we're still waiting for that portion of it, but they are working on the door opening design. The roof overhang by the police department, we did get a quote that's under $10,000. So therefore, you don't need to get any other quotes, and council can award that. We did have another quote. It was $27,000. We were going to get 3 quotes, but since the one is under 10,000, you are able to make that award. So we'll bring that up next week for your consideration. They are continuing to do the lateral replacements on Yeadon Avenue. There are 17 that have to be replaced out of all the laterals in that block. So they will continue to do that. And they did start the work with the low volume road grant work, which is the new inlets with the sediment collection devices that will go in those inlets. So there's 4 of those that are being done, and they have started that work. And I believe that's it.
Could you
I have a
elaborate a
question.
little on the 545 Church Lane? What's the nature of the work there?
Okay, so it's the street laterals. There's a Chinese restaurant, I think it's called Panda House, as well as I think it's called Liberty Insurance maybe. And the 2 of them actually share a lateral that goes from their traps, which are in the sidewalk, out to the main in the middle of the street. And one, that's not permitted. They need to each have their own lateral. And I'm sure this was put in many, many years ago. But anyway, that has backed up. So the lateral in the street, we will be separating the 2 laterals, and the borough covers the street portion, and the residents, the owners of the properties, will cover from the sidewalk up to the trap. So we're only responsible for the portion in the street. So your sewer contractor is going to start Saturday. They will open up the line and install 2 new laterals from the trap to the main.
All right. And then, I'm sorry, Councilor Jones Waters.
Yes, I have a question for the engineer. How long is it going to take for Yeadon Avenue to be fixed? Because it seems like the work is just dragging, and I don't see work every day. I don't see the trucks. I mean, I don't see anybody working on the streets like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they are the same contractor that will be doing the work on Saturday. So every time we pull them off to do something else, they aren't able to keep working on Yeadon. They're the same contractor doing West Cobb's Creek. So when we pull them off, that's why these contracts are extended for so long, because we realize that they have to be moved from one job to another.
They can't just complete one project and move to the next?
Well, this one's a backup. I mean, the whole building is filled with sewage. So that's considered an emergency. It's a health and safety issue. So we have to resolve a sewer lateral backup like that before we can move on and keep going with the laterals.
Do you have an estimated time when that job should be done on Yeadon Avenue?
I don't want to speak for the contractor. And knowing that it's winter, the weather is an issue here. So depending on the weather, it can go either faster or slower. So I will talk to the contractor. The one guy, the principal had surgery and he isn't working right now. So I am speaking to him though, and I will ask him if he has a projected completion date.
So you'll have that information for us no later than next week, but sooner via email if it's available.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
thank you, Councilor Jones Waters. And how is the traffic going to be affected on Saturday on Church Lane?
So they are going to block traffic at Bailey, and then they're meeting with Flagler Force tomorrow to discuss options for the north side. But what they're thinking is that they'll blockade Myra and then actually have someone stationed at Penn, because they come down off the bridge pretty quickly and we don't want them to go right through the blockade. So that's what they're discussing tomorrow.
Okay. Are you able to email us out that information?
Yes. And we'll make sure we get it on the website too.
Okay. And then post, I guess, the homes in the immediate area so that they would know what's happening.
The homes on, you mean the businesses on Church Lane?
Yes, the businesses. But you said there were some residences as well. Well, the resident was evacuated.
The resident was above the insurance. It's a second story rental unit.
Okay.
But they're the ones that have been evacuated.
Okay. So just, determine who will be affected and try to let them know, understanding that it is an emergency, but, we'll put it on all of our outlets, cable channel, the ticker out front, whatever the closures are. And then do they have the temporary signage that they can put up tomorrow that'll say, that work will be done?
I can ask them to get that up tomorrow instead of waiting till Saturday.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other questions for our engineer?
Hi, I have a question for Eileen. With respect to the Borough Hall lighting, so are we just focusing on the lighting for the front of the borough? Because it seemed like we're looking at bollards along the front walkway, and there will be some repair upgrade of the existing lighting near the front main door. So we're just focusing on the front, nothing on the side, the rear.
Well, that's all we're doing. I believe Nafis is handling the back with someone else. I'm not sure how that's going, but we've been assigned the front.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be two separate projects, I guess. Is that correct, Mr. Nichols?
It is. Johnson Controls came out before and did an assessment. That project is $13,000, I believe. It's just replacing the light heads and making them LED lights. We talked about the lighting thing, about it being consistent throughout the borough and how it can't be different from the other lights. So the only thing they're going to be doing is really replacing them with LED lights, and they do illuminate, I believe is the term. It would illuminate that area much, much better. The other thing that we have to do, and we did talk about this with Jeff, is do some tree trimming, because I know in the summer months when the trees are there, they do block some of the lights.
Okay, so we're going to have two different contractors, one for the front and one for the project you're referring to.
Yes.
Okay.
Johnson Controls, just so you know, they already have a contract with the borough. They did all of the LED replacements on the other lights, the other street lights throughout the town. Unfortunately, when they proposed to do the light upgrades to the library of the borough, it was during a transition of management firms. So that part stayed kind of in abeyance for a while. And we have been in contact with them to let them know that they can go ahead and complete the task.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. We have our library report. Mr. Payne.
Happy New Year, everyone, and good evening. I'm
evening.
happy to report that the Yeadon Public Library has been designated a silver level library, my tongue's twisted tonight, by the PA Forward Star Program, which is part of the Pennsylvania Library Association. Special thanks to all the Yeadon Public Library staff for their hard work to achieve this designation. We're going to also put that on our website. Our annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service program is on Monday via Zoom. The children's program will begin at 11 a.m. The adult program begins at 1 p.m. Mayor Hepkins will be our guest speaker, and we will have children performing at the program. Please contact the library if you need more information or the Zoom link. This month we checked out in December, we checked out 1,107 items via curbside pickup, and we handed out 144 5-day meal packs to youth. We offered 47 programs and 149 attendees attended those programs. And we are working on a new and improved website and hope to have that up and running in the coming weeks. So look forward to that. It's going to be much more colorful and intuitive and user-friendly. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. How are those Wi-Fi checkouts going? The Wi-Fi hotspots?
They're going well. We're really trying to promote it. It seems like a lot of people don't know about it yet, but when we get our new website up, we're going to be able to have rolling slides. So we'll dedicate a slide to that to make sure everyone knows. But people are borrowing them, not as much as we expected, but people are borrowing them, and they can check them out for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Have you made any contact with the schools to see if there are any students who may need them for their virtual learning?
I did notify our local principals to let them know that we had those available. Now, they have told me that they are providing internet access for their students. So, but I told them if they feel like anyone has fallen through the cracks or needs our services, please to let them know.
Perfect. That's wonderful collaboration. Thank you for your efforts.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We will move on to our finance report.
Hi, everybody. Do you want to take it now?
That's okay if you got it. I mean, it's just the cash balance report and the balance sheet. It will be a year-end report that we'll be presenting next week. That's all I have. The audit will also be complete. We got an email from the auditor today saying that they will be issuing the report no later than Monday. So I'll present that information to Council as well.
Sounds good to me.
This is the 2020 audit already?
Wishful thinking, no.
19.
Oh, I'm like, wait a minute. This report never came this fast. Okay, makes sense. Thank you. All right, we will move on to ordinance and zoning. I know we had some. Okay, ordinance and zoning.
Good evening.
Mr. Nichols. Oh, okay, Mr.
No, go ahead. If you want to go as the committee chair.
Oh, no. I mean, you can present your own report.
Okay.
Rightfully so, but I was just going to speak on the meeting, the recent code meeting we had on January 12th, 2021. Mr. Nichols and I met and we just basically discussed what would be the priorities for the code department this year coming up in an effort to move Yeadon forward to help assist with bringing more families and more businesses into Yeadon. So some of the priorities included updating the antiquated ordinances, addressing the abandoned car issues, the common driveways, and I believe sidewalks and boarded homes. So those are some of the priorities that the code department would like to focus on, in addition to the other enforcing other ordinances as well. But those are the priorities. Also, I think that's it. That was the gist of the meeting. So Mr. Stokes, Director Stokes, if you'd like to present, please feel free.
All right. Happy New Year, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
The report for December of 2020. There was no zoning hearings, no zoning applications, or no zoning use applications for December of 2020. We still have a few hot spots that we are constantly monitoring. Parkview Court Apartments in reference to the trash. 910 Longacre Boulevard, reference to the contractor. He is back working and he is maintaining the work on that property. 1024 Church Lane, we still having some issues with the property, which is owned by Frankie Branch's. Violations and notifications were issued to the owner. 1200 Whitby Avenue and the 1100 block of Angora, we had about 6 abandoned cars that were removed in the last couple of weeks from last month. We had an issue with a black bus on Rundale Avenue. That issue was addressed to what we were notified in reference to, and we're still making sure that it is going to be taken care of on a daily basis. On our action items, we had some trash issues still in the 3rd Ward. They are getting better, but we are still having some issues. They are writing up the residents that are not taking care of the trash issues. Last month, there was a fire on Arbor Road, 500 block. No one was hurt. The residents did get out with his children. They are in the process of dealing with the insurance company to actually start renovation and get back into the property. 125 Chester Avenue, there was a tree down last month that the owner, Mr. Feinberg, kind of hesitated to remove. We did issue him citations in reference to him not moving it, but it was removed right after the snowstorm that we had. The closed items were the Alpine Club, which was illegal dumping. That trash issue was corrected. We still have some upcoming items that are still going on, which is the renovation of a building on Penn Street, 400 block. They're almost complete and the business will be opening soon. It's a distribution for HVAC and electrical material when they're working on properties and homes. 121 Bailey Road is still renovation going on. The gentleman bought the property, should be taken care of. And as they spoke about 125 Chester Avenue in the County Health Center, renovations are still continuing and they're almost done with the construction on the inside of the building. For our code revenue for December, the total amount was $48,174.87. We also had for our property maintenance for December, the total amount came in was $10,268.37. And for the year, the total was $33,413.43. And that completes my report for the code department. Any questions?
Thank you, Director Stokes. I just want to make sure that we've already addressed the abandoned car issue, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So is it some more time before the ordinance takes effect, or?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
The ordinance will affect 60 days after enactment, which was the last council meeting. So that way people could have a chance to know what the expectations were.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We will move on to our Public Works report.
I'm going
Good
to
evening, everyone.
Jeff to read the report. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So we had 2 emergency call-outs during the month of December. One was early Christmas morning. That was due to a pole and some down wires. We had to block up Chester Avenue until PICO arrived. The second was on the 26th. We got a call out from the police department that there was a slight leak. Upon arrival, we found out that the ice machine drain on the 2nd floor was clogged and causing the leak. Moving forward, we'll make sure that that is put on a preventative maintenance schedule to prevent that from happening. Also, during the month of December, we had that snowstorm gale. There's the recap for your viewing pleasure. There was no abatements. We weren't able to, get on any of the borough properties to do the fall and winter cutbacks. So we're planning to do that this month. Leaf season ended on December 31st. Leaf totals for 2020, 141 yards of leaves were collected. Street dirt totals for 2020, 219 tons were collected. Some sanitary sewer issues that we ran into. The 400 block, we're still maintaining that until Garjoul is done with Yeadon Ave. The 300 block of Chester Avenue between manholes 251 and 253, right across the street from the laundromat, we found an increased amount of soap. So the code department spoke with the owner, and they said that they'll be making frequent follow-up visits to assure that this doesn't happen again. We also had a backup at 836 West Cobbs Creek. and we pulled back minimal soap and grease, but everything was good on our end. Some maintenance that we did during the month. There's a whole bunch of potholes that popped up after the snowstorm, which is common, that we backfilled, and that's all under control. We're currently inspecting all of the storm inlets, clearing any debris from them, and getting some notes. This way we can compile a list and prioritize them and send them off to the engineer. Streetlights are being serviced and fixed as problems arise, and the monthly routine maintenance and checks were performed on all borough vehicles. The COVID-19 sprayers finally came in on January 6th, so we're going to be doing some training next week and start incorporating that into our cleaning procedures. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
We will move on to our public safety report. Mayor Hopkins or Dr. McCabe.
Thank you, Madam President. Public safety report stand as submitted. We did meet on Saturday, December 19th. Next meeting will be Saturday, January 30th. And I have nothing more to report. Do you have anything, Dr. McCabe?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll just ask if the chief has anything to understand.
The only thing I want to throw out to the public and council is Monday, in celebration of Martin Luther King's holiday. I start a new program in Yeadon called Good Morning Yeadon. It's going to be a Zoom talk show type thing for the community. And if you have a chance, grab the link and sign on, and let's see what we can do with it to change the way police interact with the public. I'm looking forward to it, and the report will stand as written and submitted. Any questions?
Chief, do you need to mention the new policeman?
No, my understanding is that's going to be brought up with you all at the personnel committee meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Chief, I have a question.
Yes.
Did something take place yesterday that we should be aware of?
I think you may be alluding to a report of a subject shot that Channel 6 had. That's actually not an accurate report. The subject was not shot. It was a food delivery guy making a delivery. He was robbed, but he was not shot. That story is inaccurate.
Okay. Okay, good. Because when I heard the story, it was literally like right around the corner, and I was like,
yeah,
I didn't know anything about it. Okay, great. Well, thank God for that.
I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised that the news did not call me about it, and they must have realized later after they got the right information that it was not a shooting. That's probably why they didn't call me back.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You got it.
Where did this occur?
It was in the area of Cobbs and Fern, but again, it was a subject with it was a Chinese individual making a delivery. Well, initially, we had some problems communicating with him, but he was robbed, but he was not shot. The initial reports came out that there was a shooting and he was shot, but there was no gunfire and there was no one shot.
Like to know about something like that, Chief.
Yes, Mayor.
So, Chief.
Yes, ma'am.
Instances like that's going to be on your Zoom call? Like things that's going on in the community?
That is correct.
That is very important. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I agree. I think it is as well.
And one more thing, Chief, if I could. So is there something that maybe the residents could do in addition to just keeping their eyes and their ears open? I mean, as far as some of these blocks that I walk through, there's, it's completely dark and it doesn't cost much to have, you know, your porch light turned on, especially at nighttime or I don't know. I just feel like it's completely dark in a lot of areas. And if we would just be a little more vigilant and you know, push for people to keep their lights on, their porch lights, their lawn lights, something like that, you know, maybe, just maybe it would just, you know, help, you know, deter some of these robberies.
Yeah, I'm hoping with the Zoom meeting that I plan, because I want to do this frequently. I want to do it at a minimum once a month where the public can call in. I'm hoping that things like this that we discuss here at council will get a wider audience, so that things like that, because sometimes I know you've seen it before I got kicked off of Next Door, but I was always on there basically saying, leave your lights on at night. You know, tap that car fob to make sure your vehicle's locked at night before you go to bed. So this is a way of me kind of like getting back in the public view with Next Door not giving me the vocal voice that I had before. I'm hoping the Zoom thing. And then again, eventually, once COVID is clear, I'm hoping to actually do this at the Borough Hall, so I can invite people in, do a Zoom for those that can't make it in, and then have an in-person thing once COVID is under control.
Good idea. Good idea.
That'd be fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if we have our
One more
fire.
question for the chief, Council President. Chief, how are the residents going to know about this that you're doing?
I've had it posted on the Borough website. I put it on, Nextdoor gave me a like a police account. I put that out there, and then a resident actually posted it on the I guess civilian side of the website. I know that somebody told me it's gotten at least 200 views. So I'm hoping by word of mouth, and again, I'll post it on my Twitter. I'll make sure it's on our Facebook page, but it's getting out there, and a lot of the residents are aware of it. So I'm hoping that it gets a good volume of people signing on to it.
It would be nice if maybe a robocall or something could go out. Just another idea.
And even when the parents come to pick up the lunch and the breakfast, maybe you could have some flyers there for them to take as well.
You know what? That I can actually get that done tomorrow. That's a great idea. I appreciate that.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for that. I know the fire department has their meeting at the same time, so we'll maybe get a report from them next week. And then is there anything for the emergency management report?
I apologize because I was out for the last 2 weeks. I did not submit one, but I will submit it before next meeting.
All right, so we'll have that at next week's meeting. Mr. Francis, do you have anything for recreation?
No, good evening, Madam President. Happy New Year to everybody. We do not have a report at this time, Madam President.
All right, thank you so much. Is there that concludes our business for this evening?
Actually, I do have one more, a question for Mr. Nichols, if I could, please. Relating to our meeting on January 12th with respect to some of our priorities for the code department, we spoke about the driveways. I actually reached out, the common driveways. As everyone knows, the common driveways, a majority of the common driveways are in deplorable condition. Some potholes as big as swimming pools, and if you're not aware of it, your car could just basically just fall into it. So we're trying to come up with ways with respect to how we can get these driveways repaired. So I did reach out. I did a little research with respect to maybe some funding, governmental funding, maybe some grants or something. And I was told that I should look into Delaware County DCED. Are you familiar with that, Mr. Nichols?
I'm familiar with DCED, Delaware County. DCED is the Department of Community Economic Development. That's a state agency.
Right. So I was told specifically that we should reach out to that department to find out if there's any, like maybe some grants or some sort of financial help so that we can try to, you know, incorporate with getting these common driveways repaired.
Yeah, we can reach out to the local person. Alia is in the Philadelphia office, and Fred Chapman is also a person. He actually just reached out to do a check-in with the borough about some annual reports that each municipality are to submit by the end of the month. So Fred and I actually just talked on Tuesday. I will reach out to him and ask.
Right. So the community block grants would not be helpful in this instance, correct? Or is that?
No.
No. Okay. That's strictly for.
They're for infrastructure, but mainly like the main streets of the borough, not things like the common driveways. Eileen probably will have more information, but they're like for like parks, that type of stuff, public property.
Okay. Yeah, because
block property.
Okay. All right. Because the common driveways is a little different because, you know, people, you know, actually have ownership of same. So, okay. So if we could look into the DCED and see if we could get any, you know, leeway, that would be great.
Oh, certainly.
Thank
Eileen, you're in several municipalities. Have you seen any progress with common driveways, or have there been any solutions in other communities that have worked?
I was in Chester Township when they started the conversation.
You're not Eileen.
Oh, Eileen. Oh, okay. Yeah, Eileen, you do.
Actually, I haven't seen anything successful. The only, I know years ago it was done where the town did it, and then the homeowners were assessed for a certain, whatever time the town wanted to assess it. I don't know whether it was 3 years or 4 years, but all the residents on that, that were impacted by that driveway, they were assessed for the cost. It got it done.
And Mr. Nichols, you were going to add something?
I was just saying, when I was engaged in Chester Township about 4 or 5 years ago, they were starting the process to look for funding. I did say at the meeting that I would reach out to them and see where, you know, how far they got with it and report back.
Okay, so Upper Darby also has a lot of common driveways. I do know that they're a different type of municipality, but it may be helpful to reach out to them as well.
I actually have talked to the code director over there. I used to work with him. He's going to get back to me in reference to that because they did do it a few years ago, but he is going to get back to me in reference to how they proceeded to do it then.
Oh, perfect. So we should have some additional answers for Councilor Roadcloud by next week then.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Can we entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.